child of God, they came to destroy you and ended up destroying themselves in the process. The very ditches that they dug for you, they're now laying in those ditches, wondering how they are going to get out. Don't think it was an accident. Don't think for a moment that they didn't know what they were doing. They strategically plotted and planned how they were going to take you out. They strategically went about getting the shovels and digging those ditches. They didn't think, how is this going to harm this individual? They didn't think about your feelings. They knew they wanted you out of the way. They knew that they had an agenda. They knew, and they smiled with you while they were digging those ditches. They came around and laughed with you while they were digging, while they put their foot in the shovel to pick up the dirt and cast it to the side. They didn't know that they were digging their own ditch. They didn't know that you were aware. They had no clue that the Heavenly Father was telling you about their plans. They had no clue that God was leading and directing your steps. So when you came to the place where they had the ditch and they had the ditch covered, they covered it, they tried to make it camouflage. When they came and saw that that ditch that was dug for you, you jumped over it, they had to go and check and see if they're actually seeing what they saw. So they went, and guess what? That ditch swallowed them. Now they're laying there and wondering, number one, how did you get around that ditch? And number two, they're looking up because they're now in the ditch and they're wondering how the heck they're going to get out of it. See, a lot of people don't understand universal laws. A lot of people don't understand that what you send out into the universe, what you send out into the atmosphere, it's going to come right back at you. They didn't take the time to understand that. They were just so giddy-headed. They were just so sure of themselves. They were so sure that they had everything under control. They were so sure that you were just meek and mild and you couldn't help yourself. They were so sure that everything was gonna go according to plan that they failed to realize that there's a thing called seed time and harvest. There is a thing that called sowing and reaping. Whatever you put out into the atmosphere, whatever you plant, whatever seeds you plant, you will harvest the crop. They forgot that. They forgot that the laws of the universe go for everybody. They thought that somehow they were going to swindle their way out of consequences. They thought that somehow they were going to swindle themselves out of repercussions. To every action, there is an equal or greater reaction. They forgot that. They honestly forgot that. You don't plant peas and reap corn. There's seed time and there's harvest. So now those seeds, they've matured. Now those seeds are bearing fruit. And they're blaming you. They're blaming you for the fruit of the seed that they planted. They are blaming you. They're saying it's your fault, but you're not the one that planted the seed. You are not the one that dug the ditch. You're not the one that cultivated the land. You are not the one that had the shovel digging in dirt. But they're blaming you for the seeds that they planted. They're blaming you for the harvest that they started. There's seed time and there's harvest. When the rain comes, when the abundance of rain comes, whatever is planted in that soil will spring forth. It will bear its fruit. It will yield its own fruit. So now that they dug the ditches, they planted the seeds, and the rain came. So they thought that what was going to happen in the rain, they thought that you were going to drown in the rain. They thought that the rain was going to bring such a flood that you were going to drown. But they did not know that that rain that came down, that rain that fell, they didn't realize that it was only watering the seeds that they planted. Now it's harvest time. Now it's harvest time. And now that it's harvest time and they don't like the seed that is springing forth, now somehow you, the victim, are to blame. Somehow you, the one who had no knowledge of the ditches that were being dug, now it's your fault. Make it make sense. There's seed time and there is harvest. That which a man sows, that also shall he reap. So now you got away scot-free, and the universal laws are at work. The universal laws are kicking butt. The universal law of karma, the universal law of seed time and harvest, it's at work. And what you did, my friend, you withdrew your energy. You pulled your energy back. So when you pulled your energy back, you're saying to God, Lord, have your way. You no longer worry. You no longer stress. You are no longer worried about the outcomes of certain situations. And when you did that, you allowed God to have his way. So while it is harvest time, my friend, you are reaping what you planted. While it is harvest time, the laws of karma, the laws of the universe are saying it's payback time. And in this season, whatever a man worked for, that is what he's going to receive. So for those of you that were doing the right thing, for those of you that were making sure that you were walking the straight and narrow, this is now your time to receive the abundance of God. This is now your time to walk into the promises of God. But for those that were setting traps, for those that were up busy at night setting snares, it's pay up time. For those that were operating in the spirit of darkness, it's pay up time. The devil gives you nothing for free. That's one thing. That's why they call him the Reaper. He gives you nothing for free. Whatever he gives you, he's going to want payment. So now is reaping season. For a lot of you guys, the spirit of death was sent out to you. It didn't accomplish what it was supposed to do. So now it's reaping season. For a lot of you guys, the spirit of madness was sent out to you. It didn't accomplish what it was supposed to do. So now it's reaping season. For a lot of you guys, the spirit of sickness was sent out to you. It did not accomplish what it was supposed to do. Now is reaping season. The devil gives nothing for free. That is the trick of the enemy. People don't realize you have people that are working in the spirit of darkness. You have people that are working for Satan himself. But one thing about Satan, nothing that he gives you is for free. It's going to cost you dearly. And when the Reaper says it's pay up time, it is pay up time. Whatever he gives you, Satan has been a liar since the beginning. Satan has been a liar since in the garden. Whatever Satan gives you, remember, he comes back for payment. Whatever God gives you, he gives it to you and it does not cause you harm. Little is much when God is in it. People fail to realize that. Little is much. Just like the widow's mite. Look how powerful that was. It was small, but it was all she had. Little is much when God is in it. It's better you have little and that you're able to rest with that little than you have much and you're being tormented with that much. Whatever the devil gives you, he is going to require that you pay up. It is now time to pay up. Whatever the devil promised you, and he said he was going to fulfill it, he's a trickster. The devil is a trickster. What he does to a lot of people, he tricks them into going after God's people. He tricks these people into thinking that the snares that they planted for God's people are going to be effective. He makes these people feel that, yeah, you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. You're delaying the child of God. You're delaying the child of God. You're stopping the child of God. It's all a trick. In the meanwhile, because remember, if you are a child of God, you are already operating from a place of victory. You are already operating from a place where you have won already. So Satan tricks these people into thinking that they can come and they can destroy you, that they can come and they can delay you. He tricks them. And guess what he does? After we know that whatever weapons went out against the children of God, they don't prosper. They didn't say that they wouldn't form, but they never prosper. But guess what happens to those arrows that came against you? They turn back. They go back to sender. Guess what happens to those traps and snares that were set for you? They have to claim a victim. But you as a child of God, they go back to sender. So Satan tricks these people into thinking that they can get away with whatever they want with you. Satan tricks these people into thinking that what they are doing is going to be effective. Meanwhile, those weapons that were formed, when you are shielded, when you are rooted in God, they must turn back. And they have to hit a target. They have to hit a target. They just were not aware that they now became the target. They were not aware that they now are the target. The arrows that they sent out, they're now turning back around and hitting them. And then now you're the one to blame. And then now, oh, it's your fault. I set plots and plans against you. It didn't work. And now those plots and plans are back at me, so it's your fault. It's your fault, child of God. No. There's seed time and there's harvest. A lot of people are reaping a harvest of the seeds that they planted, but they're going to blame you for the crop. They're going to blame you for their pickings, and they're the ones that picked the seeds. They're the ones that planted the seed. They are the one that watered the seed. But now that the seed that they planted, now that the tears that they planted are no longer choking the wheat, they're blaming you. Seed time and harvest. Be not fooled. That which a man sows, that also shall he reap. Children of God, be prepared. Be prepared to see those arrows miss you, turn back around and hit them. Be prepared to see that. And for a lot of you guys are going to feel bad when you see these arrows hitting them. You're going to feel bad. But guess what? That's what they worked for. Guess what? They knew what they were doing when they were digging ditches. Guess what? They knew that they were cultivating seeds of wickedness. Now they are reaping its harvest. Laws of the universe. Study them. Understand them. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. If it's not good for you, if it's not good for your kids, don't do it to somebody else. If it's not good for you, if it's not good for your household, don't do it to somebody else. Understand that. There's seed time and there is harvest. Those arrows are going back.